my name is Aisha Ali and I'm the event director for Twist Cocktail Catering Co here in Bend, Oregon. Today I'm going to make 3 holiday drinks, sure to impress your guests if you're having company this holiday season, and if not, like me and you're just staying home, these are definitely drinks worthy of treating yourself. The first drink I'm going to make is a spin on the margarita. You've also kind of heard it called a Skinny Margarita. The reason why it's called skinny is because it's not made with refined sugar, and it's certainly not made with margarita mix, because that's gross. Okay, so to start, we're going to need a couple of tools. Mostly everything is optional, and so I'm going to start with a cocktail shaker. There are a lot of different varieties of cocktail shakers. In a pinch, you can just use a spoon to mix it up. I've certainly done that before. This is a glass. This is a larger cocktail glass. This is actually a 10-ounce glass. You can use something smaller. All of this stuff is completely up to you and whatever you have on hand. What I like to do to get started, so I know that my measurements are going to be perfect for the glass that I happen to have, is I like to fill my glass up with ice. That way I know whatever ice goes in the cocktail shaker is actually going to fit in the glass. And because I'm adding liquid to the ice, I'm not going to fill it up all the way to the top, but I'm going to fill it up pretty close. So there we go. I'm going to do this. So I'm going to pour my ice into my cocktail shaker, and then I'm going to add 1.5 ounces of silver tequila or Blanco tequila. Basically, this stuff is for mixing. So the darker stuff, it has more taste to it, and that's for sipping either straight up or on the rocks. If you have the darker tequila, that's totally fine. I've certainly made margaritas with that, but this is specifically for mixing. So I'm going to add 1.5 ounces of silver tequila. Now, it took me a long time to buy one of these. This is called a jigger, and this is what bartenders use to make sure that their proportions are correct when making a mixed drink. A lot of people don't have these, and that's totally fine. Just a rule of thumb you want to remember is that a 1/2 ounce is equal to 1 tablespoon, which almost everyone has a tablespoon. So 1/2 ounce for a jigger is equal to 1 tablespoon, like a baking tablespoon. So this big side is 1.5 ounces. So I'm going to fill that to the top and just pour it in my shaker. And then I'm going to add 1.5 ounces of fresh lime juice. I happen to have limes on hand. Have I made it with bottled lime juice? Absolutely. Was it delicious? Absolutely. If you have the fresh stuff, that's better. If you don't, it's totally fine. So we're going to do 1.5 ounces of the fresh lime juice. I'm actually going to get a fork to help me get this juice out, and I'm just putting my jigger in a little bowl just because it never ends up totally in the jigger. So these are pretty big limes, but they're not super juicy, and I'm about halfway there with 1/2 lime. Just in case you're shopping, you probably want to buy like at least 2 limes. Okay, here we go, the second half. We're going to add 1.5 ounces of the fresh lime juice. And if you're using like the bottled lime juice, I would just put the same proportions in. You can always taste it at the end and then adjust as needed. Okay, so I'm going to do 1/2 ounce of the freshly squeezed, which just means you squeeze an orange. You don't have to buy the really expensive stuff, of freshly squeezed orange juice. So for the Skinny Margarita, what this replaces is part of the triple sec or the orange liqueur. So if you order a margarita at a restaurant, that's what they're going to give you. It's really sugary. It's delicious, but it's not amazing for you. So the Skinny Margarita uses the real deal. And this is 1/2 ounce. So I'm going to use 1/2 of my little side. And I'm probably going to make a mess. That's okay. And this is just the standard way to make it. I tend to like my drinks less sweet, Some people like their drinks more sweet. So after you make it, taste it, and then kind of adjust to your taste. Okay, so we've got the orange juice in there, and then we're gonna do 1/2 ounce of the agave nectar. So mostly all mixed drinks should be a nice balance between sweet and also sour, which is where the citrus comes in. So you do need sugar if you're gonna make a margarita. Agave is the less evil in terms of agave versus simple syrup. I have absolutely used maple syrup to make a margarita just because I didn't have this on hand. This is from Target, not sponsored, I promise. You can literally find it, you'd be surprised. You can find agave nectar. This also is not viscous whatsoever. So I have the baking agave that's super, super thick. I've tried it in a drink, it doesn't mix super well. So you wanna try, if you can, to find the watery agave. Okay, I'm gonna put 1/2 ounce of the agave, and then I'm gonna mix it. So again, every mixer is different. In a pinch, just use a spoon. I'm gonna make sure this is closed, and then give it a nice shake. Okay, remember how you filled up that glass before? So this is going to be perfect. There we go. And then you can garnish it with a nice lime wedge. You could have used the lime wedge to wet the rim of your glass and kind of roll it in like a coarse salt, a flavored salt. You can also make this margarita flavored and still be sort of healthy. So you could muddle berries or really anything that you're into would taste great. Some fresh herbs would taste nice. Okay, let's give it a shot. Cheers. That's good. So a tip I wanted to give you, and when you go to the website, the Deschutes Public Library website, you're gonna find this tip there. I like to put a little club soda in my margarita. I know it sounds weird, but it really just, for me, makes it taste more balanced. You can also use water if you want, but I think this just makes it lighter and a little more refreshing. So totally up to you, totally optional to use a little club soda. Okay, let's try it with this. Cheers. I like that better. Okay, enjoy. The second drink I'm going to make today is called a Boulevardier. Now you may have never heard of this, but you may have heard of the Negroni. So the Boulevardier is basically a rye whiskey or bourbon cousin to the Negroni, which is made with gin. So I'm going to show you how to make it. This one is a little more involved, and ingredients really, really, really matter for this drink. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take either a shaker, half of a shaker, or just a pint glass, whatever you have on hand, and you're going to put 4 ice cubes in it. The point of the ice in this part of making the drink is just to make the drink cold. You're not actually going to kind of sip on this ice. Okay, so we are going to do 1 ounce or 1.5 ounces, depending on how big of a drink you would like, of sweet red vermouth. People, please, please, please don't buy super, super cheap red vermouth. You definitely can taste the difference, and in a drink like this, where you're adding so much vermouth, it's a really big deal. Vermouth is just a fortified wine. So kind of like wine, like nice wine, you can tell. You don't have to spend a whole lot, but please don't buy the cheapest one. Again, none of this is sponsored, but this one is readily available in the liquor stores and probably grocery stores as well. This is, I won't buy anything less expensive than this. It's super, super important. So this one I find quite tasty. Similar to wine, once you open it, it absolutely can go bad, as opposed to this stuff is not going bad. But this definitely goes bad. It gives off a pretty distinct smell. So when you start to notice that the smell has changed in a negative way, kind of like when you open wine and you don't finish it, you know it's bad. So get the best one you can afford, and you don't have to get such a big bottle. They actually have this in a smaller bottle. Okay, so that's our 1 ounce of the vermouth. And then I'm making a bigger drink. I'm gonna do 1.5 of Campari. Campari's a little pricey, and I've asked and looked and there is no substitute. So if you're having guests over or you really, really wanna treat yourself, this is definitely the drink to do that with. And then you're gonna add two ounces of either bourbon or a rye whiskey. I really like using the Bullet rye. Another one I really enjoy is Woodford. Really delicious. So really any rye whiskey or bourbon that you would sip on straight would work really nicely for this drink. So now comes the part, it's a little laborious. You want to stir it for at least 30 seconds. If anyone's ever been to McMinimans, it's kind of how I got super into this drink. When they make their Boulevardiers or even their Negronis, they will sit there or stand there and stir it and really pay attention and really get into it for like a long time. I've definitely made it with like 3 stirs. It is worth it to stir it for a long period of time. So I would say 30 seconds is like definitely the bare minimum, which I didn't do. That's just for the video. Okay, so we made the drink cold with the ice, and then I'm just being a little fancy. So I'm gonna put, like, you've seen those like spherical or the square ice cubes. Actually, I did this the wrong way. So I made a little fancy ice cube out of just a little Tupperware thing in my freezer. So I'm going to use that for presentation. I'm going to strain this just so I don't catch any of the ice in my cup. If you do, it doesn't matter, but this is the proper way to do it. And so I just want the liquid to come out. And see how pretty that is? It's such a beautiful color. I really like it. Okay, so I pre-cut a small piece of orange. So this is called a twist, which means it's just the peel. And as you can see, I've tried to take kind of as much as the white pith out as possible because that's really bitter. The peel is where the nice oils are, so that's gonna really give it just this lovely orange essence. What you can do with the twist is twist it, and that I can even feel it releases the orange oils. If you would like, you can kind of run it over the rim of the glass to really intensify the orange, or just stick it in. That smells so good. Cheers. So worth the work. The final drink I'm going to make is a sangria. And we've all had sangria. Sangria can be made with white wine, it can be made with red wine. It's kind of like a clear out the fridge type of cocktail. You can use any kind of fruit that you would like. And also I've seen that the spirits are a little different. Today we're gonna make it with brandy. I've had sangrias with rum, I've had sangrias with vodka. But the main star attraction is definitely going to be your wine. And on that note, I wanted to talk about a little bit of like where we got the wine from. So a little backstory, Twist has been around for about 12 years, and we've always loved doing events for our community. When COVID hit, it forced us and our community to shut down. And we saw our nonprofit partners that we've done their fundraisers for the past 12 years not be able to do that anymore. And we thought that we really needed to do something about that. So we came up with Fundraising by the Barrel, which is an online wine club where 50% of the proceeds go directly to the nonprofit of your choice. So if you visit the website, you can pick one of the 9 local nonprofits and support them and get really, really awesome wine. All of the wine is from the Pacific Northwest. It's all incredible wine. I'm a huge wine snob, so trust me, if I like it, everyone's gonna like it. The one we're using today for the sangria is the Rocco the Stalker Pinot Noir. It's absolutely delicious, so this is really gonna be a special cocktail. Okay, so you need a pitcher. I've seen this made with the really pretty like glass beverage dispensers. However, they don't fit in my refrigerator, so a pitcher is totally fine. We are going to open up our wine and add the wine to the pitcher. If you're gonna serve it soon, it's important that you actually chill the wine, even if it's red wine. Sangria, red or white, should be served chilled. I like to tip my pitcher, especially pouring red wine, so it doesn't splash everywhere. So that's kind of like a insider secret. And we're just gonna pour this in to the pitcher. There you go. I have taken an orange and I've cut it in half. So you can kind of see half of the orange is cut up in my fruit mix. The other half of the orange, I'm just gonna squeeze directly in to my pitcher. Just try to get all the juice out that you can. Okay. So now I'm gonna add my medley of fruit. Bare minimum, if you're using an entire bottle of wine, use 1 cup of fruit. This is about double, just because I like a lot of wine-soaked fruit in my sangria. So this is pear, strawberry, orange, and also I've thinly sliced up 1 lemon. Just use whatever's seasonal. And I'm kind of covering this up so it doesn't splash everywhere. Okay, so similar to any other cocktail, this can be as sweet or as not sweet as you'd like. For this one, we're using maple syrup because it's, again, a little healthier than your refined sugar. So we're just gonna add about a tablespoon of maple syrup. If you want it sweeter, add 2 tablespoons, add 3. Just taste it after like 1 and then kind of take it from there. So I'm just gonna give this a little bit of a stir. Okay, I'm gonna add half a cup of brandy. Okay. So if you've chilled your red wine, you can actually serve this immediately. I recommend that you let it kind of marinate for at least 2 hours. You can let it marinate up to 8 hours to really bring out kind of the fruit that you've put in. But you can absolutely serve it right away if you'd like. Traditionally, it's served in a wine glass, and I like to add ice just to make sure it's super cold. You don't have to do that. And the pitcher makes it easy. But I think now you can kind of see how that beverage dispenser would be like super cute, especially if you're having a party. And then I love sangria fruit, so I make sure to take a little extra. And there we go. Cheers. Let's taste it. Oh, it smells really good. Oh, that's really good. And the myth about using like the bottle of wine you don't want to drink to make sangria, totally false. This is a wine-based drink, so you want to use nice wine, and it doesn't have to be expensive. That's really good. Okay guys, well thank you so much. Thank you to the Deschutes Public Library. Thank you, of course, to Twist Cocktail Catering Company, and I hope you guys have a very safe and happy holiday. Today I'm going to make 3 holiday drinks from home, and as you can see I really am from home because I have a little visitor that was not planned, I think he just heard me talking. Staying at home, then this is definitely 3 drinks. Okay, we gotta start again.